passive income,
Yeah.
cash flow. Now I have insane amounts of equity in these properties. So the only problem is you're not seeing money. You have to remove your emotions from it.
We're back with my guy, Tucker McCarthy. I can't say enough about this guy. I call you all the time whenever I have any real estate questions, anything like that. But without further ado, Tucker McCarthy, he is, what you call yourself, the GC, the founder of McCarthy Construction. He's also a real estate investor. So anyone in the real estate investing space, there's a lot of blended roles. And, he does everything he does very well, very precise. He's just telling me a little bit about his background, so now this all starts to make sense for me. But man, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I appreciate you having me.
Oh, absolutely. On this show, we always try to have people, come on, kind of just share what they do and a little bit of insight into our industry, which is, real estate. And like I said, real estate is blended with a lot of different things. You're talking marketing and construction and, development and flips and investing and like, so there's many different parts, and a lot of times we'll touch all of them in one way or another. So I definitely wanted to have you on, share your insight, and so I want to hear from you. So a little bit, so people who don't know you, tell us briefly about yourself. We'll go further into it, but a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Yeah. I pretally much do everything everything in real estate and construction you can think of. And, it's funny, like you say, you call me with questions, but that's kind of like one of the things I love about this space is it's really not that big of a community, especially in New Hampshire. And there's so much collaboration that goes on. That's part of what I love. And so McCarthy Construction is my general contracting company, but I also do some, fix and flips my own, and I'm trying to get into development and have some rental properties, and I have my real estate license, even though I usually pretty much only use it for my personal stuff. Yeah. In New Hampshire and Massachusetts, but there's a lot of things that are just kind of layered. You know what I mean? Like, and we'll get into it, but just in my background, being in real estate and construction, it just I almost kind of have like a general contracting business by accident, but it really it so much because all of it's so intertwined. Yeah, for sure. My main focus is doing general contract, and I do a lot of it. I'm getting into new construction, which is really kind of where like higher end stuff, new construction I want to be. So that kind of, it keeps me busy, and I have employees, and but it just like I said, it ties in with so many other things that I'm doing, and it gives me the ability to like do that stuff. Yeah, exactly. How long have you been in like the real estate space? Because I know you used to do something before, which many people have. I mean, we were just talking about, I used to play football. I used to coach, and how long have you really been in the space? So I was working like a 9-to-5 job. I was a civil engineer from 2011 2019. I had a coworker in 2000. I remember it exactly. February of 2017. Love this. Told me about the Bigger Pockets podcast, and I just fell in love. I had grown up around construction. Like my mom was a breadwinner. She was a nurse. My dad was a ski instructor, but he also like had a hardscape business in the summer. But like the house I grew up in, he built. So I've like kind of been around construction my whole life. And I actually kind of went a different route when I was in college for engineering. I purposely worked in construction as a laborer because you hear about all these people that can put stuff on paper, but they don't practically know how it's done. So like, I'm gonna do it different. I'm gonna know how stuff's done. So I was working in that field. I had never really done anything in real estate. And February of 2017, I started just binge listening to the Bigger Pockets podcast and getting into the space. And I think it was June of 2017, I did a duplex with an FHA loan, a house hack. I actually just sold that like 3 months ago, but I'd still owned it for 5 or 6 years. Love that. So, I was sort of kind of doing stuff on the side. I started doing a couple fix and flips, and then, 2019, I believe. So it's been 4 years now. 5 years. Maybe I have my dates wrong, but it was around that time I started getting into real estate and doing construction, and I was able to leave my full-time job eventually to do it full time. So not a ton of time, but I've done quite a bit in the past 4 or 5 years, and been pretty lucky with some opportunities. I always say real estate is you gain experience through your transactions. Like you could be in the space
for 15 years, if you're doing 5 transactions a year, that's how much experience you have.
Yeah.
I know some people, they're 2 years in, they have 80 transactions. They haven't have 100. Yeah. It is based on, one, your network, who you know, who you learn from, but also how you're in this industry, because you're doing that many transactions, or you're learning a lot. You know the market, you know everything. So that's why I'm like, it's always based on experience in terms of what you're actually doing, not necessarily the amount of years. But that was really cool. So what was like on the podcast, like what really stood out to you? Because you said you got the house hack, right?
Yeah.
So explain what a house hack is for people that don't understand that.
Yes, we did a 3.5% down FHA loan on a duplex 2 units, and so we owner occupied and lived in one of the units.
Yeah.
And then I was actually able to take a HELOC on that to do a down payment on a single family house, and I started slowly acquiring some multifamily properties. So it's kind of funny because I feel like I've kind of gotten off track of my main goal when I was listening to those Bigger Pockets podcasts was, passive income, cash flow. You know what I mean? I always thought like if you could get $10,000 a month in cash flow, theoretically you could pretty much live, you can meet your basic expenses. You're not living grand maybe, but so I was kind of like, my plan was to, hustle, work hard, do flips to get capital to buy multifamily properties. And I feel like I've sort of gotten away from that, but I'm trying to like refocus myself back into it because it's so hard to get caught up in the grind of just working and making money. And, it's the market where it is today. It's not easy to find deals. It's not easy to find projects. And so when you're focusing so much on other things, it's hard to get back to that main focus, which was my goal from the beginning. So, and I'm not off that $10,000 a month goal, but hopefully we'll get there sometime.
And you know what? I always say it's like, actually, I might have heard this, just maybe this clip online. It's like, everyone talks about like the passive, income. Yeah. And everyone's like, oh, we got to gain it. And what they said? The best way to create passive income is for your main job to be like, you're so good at that, and you progress, and that you could get into other passive income positions that you probably wouldn't be able to if you didn't have the cash available. And because the thing about it, like the more cash you have, you're gonna come across better deals, better options, maybe get into development. If it's you're just working, you can't wait till you get like the next paycheck to clear, so I could put in the piggy bank to maybe put like 5% down, which is great. Everyone's got to start somewhere. But and same thing for me is like we bought some properties, and I get the same thing. You do that, you can retire and whatever. But I'm just like, the longer I'm in this space, those opportunities are gonna come, and when they come, like I don't stress out. I was like, if they come and I see it, boom, I'll take it. But I'm just like, I'm focusing so much on building, our brand, our company, our empire. And now we'll be in positions to have more capital to do a bigger project, which is going to have even better numbers than doing like 6 of these. And it was actually funny because when I had Johnny DeVito on here, he was saying his wife is the same way because they flip, made like 15 grand. They were all excited. And her has a construction background as well too. And she told him, he's like, if we're going to do this, let's just go big. Like, let's not waste our time on this. And he was like, okay. Then he was telling me the next thing he did. So he went from a flip from where they made 15 grand and they did like a slot development deal by the seacoast. I'm like, holy shit. Like that's amazing. But it's just like, you almost need those projects to give you a little confidence. And like, I can do this. Like, and it actually kind of brought me up to when I always want to do a flip. I work with people. I've seen everyone do it. And I'm like, so I kind of like forced one, squeezed one in there. And I actually mentioned on another podcast that I read some numbers by you, or told you to give me some numbers. And I was like, I didn't like it. And I thought I could beat it. And I ended up going above that anyways. And I called you after. I'm like, I will never try to GC this thing again. Like, but you got to learn. Like,
well, I mean, so the first flip I ever did, I probably had 350 hours of my own time into it there working. And I think that we split $3,500. We each made $3,500. But I mean, today I've been working on a house in Amherst right now. I rose-colored glasses. Like, we may lose money on that house. Like, it's not an easy game. It's not an easy business. And you know, you were talking about like, you know, doing deals and having experience, like it's the real estate space is, especially flipping, is very difficult because there's constantly, the market's constantly changing. And then I think what's been killing us, which everybody talks about, is just to like, you know, you can't touch a house nowadays without spending $100,000. I mean, everything is just so expensive. And so it's a continual learning and collaboration, which is like what I really like. I think that a lot of business, I think most of business, it's a people business, you know what I mean?
For sure.
And I think that I've successful because I'm good. I'm good at sales. Like that's really like when you come down to it, I'm a good salesperson. Yeah. And I think that's why I didn't really enjoy or thrive at my office 9-to-5 job, because you know, you bust your butt, you work your, you know, all year, and then they're like, all right, well, you know, here's a $2,000 a year raise. And it's like, really? This is what I get for, and, you know, you try to work extra hours and get overtime, but, you know, it doesn't really, you know, you get taxed way higher on overtime pay, and you're thinking you're making more money, but you're not. And, you know, for me, it just didn't fit my personality. You know, I just like, I like to hustle, I like to work, and, but I don't know. I feel like I just got off sidetrack. No, it happens. You know, just talking about like I thought about it that way. You're right, because you know, I have kind of sort of by accident, I was doing a lot of fix and flips for myself and another investor that I made the rehabs for, and you know, and that was, I had hired a couple guys, you know, to just kind of fill in the gaps. You know, there's always like a little punch list stuff, and just like in 21, 22, it was really hard to find houses to flip. And so they kind of slowed down in buying stuff. And I had some guys, and I had the opportunity to hire another guy. And so I just kind of flipped into doing general contracting. But I've been very lucky. I've had a lot of good referrals, and you know, I haven't really done a lot of advertising, and you know, I'm really busy, and it's good. You know, I've been building it. It's I'm not good at like the, you know, putting together like the SOPs and stuff like that. So I kind of fly by the by the seat of my pants.
I mean, I would say most businesses, it's kind of like you figure it out on the fly, because things have changed. Like you have your business, you see it go in one direction, then this great opportunity, or that you met this person, and like it changes for the better, but like you didn't know it was gonna head that direction, and then it's just like you just go with it. Hey, let's go. We're rolling.
Well, it's a lot of changes. Like I've started to realize that, you know, a lot of like my construction business is different than others, because like a lot of the smaller construction companies, the owners, they're actually doing a lot of physical labor. Well, I am not that good at. I know how to build stuff. I know how it's done, but I'm not really physically good at doing a lot of this stuff. Like I can do it, but I'm not fast at it. I'm not that good at it. So a lot of these smaller construction companies, the owners, actually, they're doing a lot of the physical labor. So I've just found that on smaller projects, I just can't be competitive enough to make money, because I'm not there putting my physical time into it. So, you know, looking at bigger projects, and one space that's really hard to get into is doing new construction. And I got lucky, kind of lucky. I had some, you know, family friends, and then a family member I built some houses for. And now all of a sudden I'm getting...
It opens up another opportunity.
Getting leads. I will say that social media is huge, you know.
It helps.
I have somebody, Kaylee, that she manages my social media, and I mean, I'm starting a new house next month that, you know, he found my Instagram. You know, and I don't think that there was anybody else that he really talked to. He met with me, and we... that's been really powerful for me, honestly, is just presence, you know, because I just give her the photos and the videos, and she's always like, you know, I need some content, and I'm like, all right, you know, I'll get you something. And just putting that up there, I don't know, people see it, they see your work. I mean, I just went and looked at a job. She said she's been following me for 2 years. And
well, it's that and just like who you are as a person. Like you're genuine, people meet you, always have a good experience. And I mean, let's be real, in the contracting space, can't really say that for everyone. And I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's true. So when people do come across you and they're like, this guy's awesome, you know, he's everything he said, he that word of mouth is like huge. Then and you give them something to see, you know, give them something to see on social media. That in combination with two, boom, leads to more business. And
definitely.
Me and my wife would talk about it all the time, and just like together a good product, but you also give people a place to find you through social media, and like that's what we do is like It's why we have a podcast. It's why we do like our Instagram or
Your guys'
YouTube.
social media stuff's awesome. I never even met your wife, but I feel like
because
like you guys' videos are so like funny and genuine.
Yeah,
and, I can't tell you how many videos I've watched you guys, and I'm just sitting there dying laughing.
It is crazy, and honestly, this is the part that I love because it's like you attract your people.
Yeah,
that work with you.
Yeah.
So it's like you get to know us. You get to do everything on our website. You can see all our videos. We're very out there. You get see if we'll be a personality match, but like when people like they call us, they're like, sometimes we're like, hey, let's start talking to me like we already know each other. I'm like, hey, who is this by the way? They're like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, blah blah. It's like I've been following you for a while, and I'm just like, and I always tell them I love that. Like I love that and appreciate that because like you're calling us, you're calling me because you felt comfortable enough because you felt like you got to know us, and you know in position to where hey. You think it would be a good match, we have a call, we sit down, we do whatever. But I mean, I think that's really the power of social media.
You guys probably put a lot of time into it too.
Oh yeah.
Planning it and 100%. Getting people there to record it.
100%.
But it obviously works.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I'd rather attract people than like, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, like cold calling is great. And you know, and
has its place, right?
Situational, and it like does great. I mean, I know some agents, whatever, and a lot of industries. I mean, that's like what really gets you going through.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone that loves it. I mean, I think they love the result you could get from it, but like, but I'm just it's situationally. We'll do what we have to do, but for the most part, I think. You know, you put something good together, you give people an avenue to come find you, come see you, then the people that, you know, do call or, you know, like I said, are your people and, you know, they want to work with you. They want to get to know you and they feel like they understand. They feel like you're your personality type and they see what you're able to do. So I think, I mean, if you can make it without social media, great, because you have a great word of mouth, you have a great reputation, but I'm just like, it only helps.
Yeah.
And it helps.
Well,
for
I
sure.
think it just, you know, you look at a lot of these contractors, you know, you go look at their wits or their Instagram and, you know, they haven't posted in 2 years, you know, and it just kind of makes it look like they're either not out there doing it or whatever. Cause like, you know, everybody starts their business off and they get a website and they get an Instagram. Yeah. I think, I'm just over 1,400 followers. It's not easy to get followers. You know what I mean? No. You can go buy a bunch of followers, but like I haven't.
It's not doing nothing for you.
No, it's not. And it, you know, because you go look at like somebody has 10,000 followers, and then you go look at their posts and they have like 17 likes, and it's like, I think they're probably not runners. But so it's not easy. You know, you get some, and then you lose some, and it like it ebbs and flows. But I follow a lot of contractors on Instagram. I love their content, and I wish I wanted to produce more content like they do, you know, because
it helps.
It works.
It helps.
It does.
It's,
because you were said something about the people that call you or the people that you want to work with, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's a big part of it because so it's a tough place in the construction business where it's like, you know, you get customers that reach out to you and they're not getting multiple bids, you know, but like I'm giving a fair price, like as good as a price as I could get. Like I think if they went and bid it out against other people, but like a lot of times those are the people you want to work with. Like you want to work with the people, like we're doing a job right now, which is a huge project, and they just trust me. Like I don't give them a price. It's all just cost plus. Like they have some money, so it's not like the money is really an issue. But I just get it done and send them a bill, and they just pay it without question because they trust me. And it's a lot of work. I mean, those customers are a lot of work. That's where I just came from before I came here, was meeting with her. But those are the projects I love. And, you know, people that really appreciate, like, the product that you produce, you know, like I'm sure, like, you know, you get a lot of agents, so they're going to go try to get a listing, and they're going to tell them, well, we're going to get you $1 million for your house. You know what I mean? Just because they're trying to tell you the number you want to hear so that you'll hire them. You know what I mean? But I know you guys are, I mean, that's the other thing too, I think with your social media is I think that you get a lot more eyeballs on a lot of those listings because you guys are so active.
We've sold houses through social media.
I'm sure you
Straight
have.
up.
And so you're getting more exposure for their house rather than just throwing it on the MLS, which a lot of agents do, which is what I do, honestly, you know?
Yeah, I mean, most people will see it there, but it's just like, maybe, but or sometimes
Well, I mean,
not everyone on their search, or like you
Yeah.
have a busy week, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like
Well, I mean, like the house that you guys just
Yeah.
listed with the gate. You know, you had the video of you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
driving through the gate together. Like it makes it feel so much more like, I don't know, appealing. You know, it's
Yeah.
like feels homey. You know what I mean? Like I want to be pulling through that gate. That's
Me
a
too.
beautiful house.
Me too.
That's
I was like, you
beautiful
gotta tell a
house.
story. I'm just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
sometimes pictures of a place and a little blurb, you know, online doesn't do it all.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think what I tell people when I go on listing appointments, I was like, you know, we'll run the comps. You know, the price is where the market sets it.
Yeah.
But what we're gonna do is put you in the best position to make the most money.
Yeah.
And that ultimately comes down to how you set your place up. You know, the prep work.
Yeah.
Because once they see it,
Yeah.
so we want to be in a position to where it's as nice, as beautiful as we can.
Yeah.
Then give it maximum exposure.
Yeah.
So now we know when it's all said and done, you know, we're looking at our offers or whatever. Anybody that could have saw it. And so we've now opened it up to every eligible person.
Yeah.
And then we could, you know, see where it lands. And that's the position you want to be in.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously our social media and other things that we do, our network.
Yeah.
And, you know, be able to, you know, be in these certain groups that we have with people, the combination of all of that is what, you know, allows us to put, to your point, put together a good product for our clients.
And I feel like you guys have, I don't know for sure because I've never hired you to list a house, but like I have a much different sales approach than a lot of people, which I think you guys do too, which is I'm not a pushy salesman.
Yeah.
If you want to hire me and work with me, fine. Like this is my price. I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
But like I'm not gonna like badger you. I'm not gonna be like, you know, sign here today. And you know, I just, you know, maybe I do lose out on business sometimes, but like maybe those aren't the people you want to work with.
And that's the point. It's just like you don't need to work with everyone.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I've struggled with that.
Yeah.
Because it's a hard balance between staying busy and then being too busy or taking on jobs that you really shouldn't be taking on.
Well, I mean, a couple bad seeds really ruin it for you. Like, I mean, my wife had this transaction, and
a listing you shouldn't have taken, right?
No. It wasn't that. It was actually it came from the other side.
Yeah.
And they didn't have any representation.
Yeah.
And it was just like we were on our honeymoon. We never went on honeymoon because we had 3 kids. Like boom, boom, boom. We were on our honeymoon. And
oh no,
like, you know, and especially like I like the way that some men speak to women, you know, is just like uncalled for. Like I wanted to fight this guy.
I'm sure you want to do worse than that.
Yeah, for sure. And I was just like, you know, the disrespect and all this other stuff. And like you get something like that, like that kind of ruins like one of your, you know, our moments together. It makes you kind of like question, like I definitely only want to work with the people that make me enjoy like our industry.
Absolutely.
And that's why I mean, like with the social media and like you'll attract those people, like people who kind of, you know, feel the same way you do about you know, some things and all that. And that's what makes us happier, makes you happier, because everybody feels good about what they're doing. So
the real estate and construction field specifically is you never get a break. You know what I mean? It's 7 days a week. You know, if you get a vacation, it's like tough. We went to Greece a couple of years ago, and I actually think the time difference helped because, you know, it was an 8-hour difference or whatever.
Well, it forces you to like push it off to the side, then get back to where we're at once.
I never even knew about this function on my phone, but it has been a lifesaver for me. Is that do not disturb? Just try like, you know, 5, 6 o'clock. I get home. It's like I'm just not responding to people. You want to respond, and it never stops in real estate construction. You know, it's o'clock at night. It stops. They're on the weekends, and it's hard to step away.
And don't you always feel like it's, oh man, like they're not gonna be happy with me or whatever. I don't respond right away.
Yes.
But then like I'll look at some of like the veterans and people who've been in this industry a long time that still do very, very well. There's this group in my office, and I called her one time because I had like this urgent question. It was like 9 o'clock at night, and on the voicemail it's just like, if it's after 7 p.m., leave a message and I'll get back to you first thing in the morning. And I was just like, I left her a message. Yeah, she got back to me the first thing in the morning.
It wasn't a big deal,
and nothing changed. And I'm just like, there's something to that.
You know what's another interesting part about that is, I'm very emotional. I'm a very emotional person. So sometimes when I get fired up on something, I'll actually purposely wait until the next day to respond. Because my emotions
you don't want an emotional
are
response.
out of it. And that is another big thing about real estate is that you have to remove your emotions from it.
Heavy emotions.
And in construction as well. So like people are always like, you know, they make a change or something comes up and they're like apologizing. And I'm like, listen, I am in the construction and real estate field. I got some thick skin. Like it takes a lot to get to me because it's never going to work out perfectly, you know? Which is kind of another reason why I like new construction because there's a lot less surprises than doing renovations. But and then in development too, which is, you know, all this stuff is very stressful. But that's I know you mentioned that before, and I know you guys are kind of, you know, involved with a big development right now. And
same thing, network. I didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't say, hey, in 2023, 2024, this is what I'm going to do. It's just like,
isn't it amazing how it just falls in your lap? Like you worry about having business and staying busy, and then all of a sudden it just comes to you. But it's that footwork and all that, you know. I mean, that you guys doing the video with the gate and everything. I mean, you guys probably spent half a day planning that, going there, doing it, shooting it, multiple takes. Like it's not like it comes out of nowhere, like and you spend money on hiring a videographer and having it cut. Like it's not free, you know what I mean? But that's another thing that like I started doing construction. Like I definitely had some projects where, you know, either I knew I was low on purpose and I didn't make a lot of money or really any money at all. I might have even lost money on projects, but because of those projects and having those on my Instagram, you know, it's that future business. You know, I always tell people it's like, you know, the construction real estate field in the past 3 years, 4 years, it's just like shooting fish in a barrel. I mean, there's so much money out there. Like, you know, we were selling flips in our sleep and, you know, but like I want to be in business in 20 years. You know what I mean? 100%. Like I want to be in business when, you know, it's really interesting. I looking at a statistic from the Great Depression, and they were talking about like, don't quote me on this, but like the unemployment was like, call it 14% or something, or like 20%. And I was like, I have a feeling that I will be part of that 80% that has a job. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the media makes you so afraid that like everything is going to flip upside down. But like, I want to be the guy that's still doing business. I mean, still selling houses. Maybe it's harder or slower or whatever, but you're still doing business because
you adjust. You adjust.
But you're also, you know, you still treating people the same. Like, you know, there's a lot of people that got into the real estate and construction business that, you know, I personally know like other contractors that ripping people off, you know, doing crappy work. And it doesn't matter right now because they're getting business. You know, I had a job, we were doing a bathroom and the tile guy showed up and there was a hairline crack in the bathtub. And I was there and I was like, I have a decision. I could call somebody to have this repaired, which is not the right thing to do, right? The bathtub hasn't been tiled. Now's the time to replace it. You know, whose fault was it? I don't know who cracked the tub. Maybe it was delivered like that, whatever. And I just said no. I called the customer and I said, I'm very sorry. We're going to lose some time in the timeline because this tub is cracked. I don't know who it was, but I paid for it. I bought a new tub. I got it replaced. It's the right thing to do. You know what I mean? 100%. And that's what I want my reputation in this business to be. You know, there's plenty of guys that probably would have just said nothing, finished the job, waited till the guy noticed something and said, oh, well, that's not my problem. And then walked away. They got paid and they don't care. And there's a lot of that going on out there. But again, I want a long-term sustainable business. You know, I don't have goals of like managing employees is really hard, you know, especially in the construction field. So I don't want to grow my personal like employees a lot more. It's more kind of picking and choosing, you know, which is not easy to do when you're just starting out.
There was this reminded me of this man. It's like this old, it might be like Italian guy. Yeah. And he was just like, I don't need all this whatever. Like, I need all these people. I don't need all this stuff. He's like, give me 3 bad motherfuckers like that want it, and we'll be able to conquer the world. And like to your point is like you want quality. Like you get 2, 3, or however many people you have that are quality. You could trust them, whatever. That's gonna take you way further than having 30 people who don't give a shit.
It's true. It's true. And I mean, everybody talks in business about like scale. You know, which I've also like always, which I think you do too, is having multiple multiple income streams. You know what I mean? Like, so I have my construction business. Like, I'll do like I'm doing my first spec house right now. That's going well. So
how's that going, by the way?
Good. We sold it, actually.
Let's go.
Yeah. So, but it's a lot of pressure. I got to finish that house by the end of August, and they want to put their kids in the school district in Bedford, and so you know. But it's like, you know, it's, the other thing too is like a lot of you know, I feel like a lot of times in the construction business, like you get these guys where like they think that, you know, they're the ones there doing the physical labor, and, you know, you got it easy because you're running around. And sometimes I'm like, I wish I could just show up and throw my headphones on and throw my tool bag on and just work, because what I have to deal with on a daily basis can be very, very stressful.
Yeah.
And sure, there's days where, you know, like, I was able to go play in a golf tournament the other day, and, you know, but like, you know, it's easy.
You've earned that right.
Yeah. I mean,
and I shouldn't feel bad about it either.
Yeah. But like,
you put yourself in a position to do that.
True. But it wasn't, you know, like I was working this weekend, I told you, because like that house, we're working on that house, like we might lose money on it. Like it's not being a great deal. And like, so I was there physically doing stuff myself because I'm trying not to spend any more money to finish the house. So it's done. And hopefully we get lucky and do well on it. We'll see. But, you know, it's not, you know, everybody looks at these like HGTV shows and they think it's just so easy to flip, and it's hard.
Trust me, like that was me. Like like HGTV, like that. I mean, that's our era. Like that's when they got super popular.
True. That's true.
The super popular is like when I was in middle school. Or whatever it was. And I'm like, I want to flip. I want to do this. And then it's just like, this is great. You can do it. And it does, like, because I love design. I love, you know, I wanted to be like an architect when I was a kid. I actually have like this notebook of like all these dream houses I used to draw for my mom. And I think, you know, eventually I'll be back in a position to do that. And it was kind of cool with this project that I'm doing. Like, it's design, but I get to pick all the finishes and things like that, which is really cool to me.
Well, you can give input in the design too. Like you can tell the architect what you want, and they can change it. Because that's a lot of times it's hard because they don't know what you want. But you have that. You know, I'm good at spaces, but I'm not good at like colors and finishes. Like,
don't get me wrong. I have an idea.
Yeah.
Because I like kind of like more of like a masculine. Like you can still make stuff look nice, but like a masculine touch. Then like I'll you know, talk to my wife or like some of the designers we work with. I'm like, all right, we have like things that have like a masculine base with like some feminine touches. Look awesome. Because then it's like, you know, guy comes in, he doesn't feel like, oh, this place is too pink or like whatever. But it's like, I feel good about this. Then, you know, woman or anyone who has that type of sense, they'll come in and like, I really like this. This speaks to me. And you could really get both sets of people to fall in love. And I love that. And, you know, hopefully one day, dude, and like, I love the direction you're going. Like, for me, like, big goal, if you're talking big goal now, obviously I love, you know, real estate, buying, selling, and homes, but I would love to be, you know, just like this neighborhood over there of those 30 houses, like I was involved in that. And, like, you know, and part of the design and like, you know, those willow trees that hang over the road and the lamp posts and, you know, whatever, like to be part of something like that, that's like where I see, you know, myself and like what I would want to do in the future, and who knows, it might happen.
I think it definitely will, because I personally believe that there's such a high demand for housing in New Hampshire that that in the next 5 to 10 years there's going to be a lot of new stuff.
We're in a shortage. There's articles where like I think last time I checked it, don't quote me on this, New Hampshire, we're like in a 10-year like supply shortage.
Way short.
And
well, you know what's crazy is they came out with that report saying that we were like 90,000 houses. But what I didn't think about when somebody made the point to me is that our population in New Hampshire is 1.2 million. So that's 10% of our population does not have housing available to them. So I definitely do. The thing that always kills me is like, and that's why you see all these like big players doing all these developments, because all this soft costs and everything up front, there's so much risk and there's so much cost. But that's why, you know, we didn't get into this, but like, well, I'm doing that 15 unit right now with Johnny and Brittany, and that was cool. That's been stressful though, but you know, talk about relationships. Like we had a lender that came in and funded the whole thing. You know, and it's expensive, but you know, that is, I will say, the relationship with that lender, and I've started to build that relationship with them too. But that is like, I want to get into, honestly, is like medium to small multifamily. I think that's the future because there's just not a lot of inventory. but finding the land and everything is tough. And but that's what I want to do.
How would you say all encompassing on the things? Because obviously, I know you've done flips and you do a lot of these.
Yeah.
How are you finding the deals? Is it mostly through your network? You know where to look? Like, where's...
So it's funny. That's another thing that, like, I haven't spent a lot of time finding my own deals, honestly. Like, Johnny found that property. So you were talking about doing cold calls. So, like, I did this, like, whole program with these, like, awesome guys out of Andover. You know, it was a program to, like, for leads and, like, cold call. It wasn't for me. I'm terrible at it. I didn't enjoy it. I don't like calling people, you know. But, like, I feel like sometimes I have done a lot of collaboration, you know, because I know the construction. Like, Johnny and I own a 5-unit because there's a building that he found that's out near me and far away from Brittany, you know. So, like, he was like, do you want to partner with me? So, like, I bring in I don't charge, you know. It's like a part, and I've done that a bunch with people. So I've been pretty lucky with that throughout the years. So just, you know, try to provide value, you know. Like, I met with it recently, and that's what they're looking for, you know. Like, my discussion with them was like, listen, if we find a property, you guys bring in the money, I'll run the construction for cheap, and I want equity, you know. I want the long-term goal. I don't want to just, you know, I don't want a quick cash. Like, I'd rather have the equity, you know. Which is an interesting place right now because, you know, that's what they talk about real estate being a snowball effect, right? Like, you know, now I have insane amounts of equity in these properties. So the only problem is that the rates are so high, it makes it tough to be able to pull that equity out. So hopefully at some point the rates come down.
Hey, you know it's there.
Well, that's the thing. And so like, we've been trying to look at like 1031 exchanges and stuff like that. It's just really hard. You know, it's a very flooded space right now. So, you know, if I could get out of the day-to-day grind and like purposely put some time aside myself to like look for deals, which is really what I need to do. And I need to get back into. That's my personal goal. Like, that's what I want to, you know. And it's great. I mean, a company and doing work, like, you got to pay your bills, right? You know. So, and I really honestly enjoy construction. Like, like you've been walking that project you've been involved with. Like, it's so cool to see the transformation.
Dude, I'm on a construction call every week, and it's just like, I feel like everyone understands, like, on a very base level construction. But like, to be on some of these calls for projects this big, I'm like, man, to be a GC, that's managing a lot of different things. The timing, a lot of different personality types,
materials,
a lot of different people. These people came in, weren't great, like all types of things, and change every week. Constant change. Constant change.
It's a lot about knowing that.
So dealing with it, I'm just like, wow, this is impressive. I was like, after doing that one flip, I already knew. I was a couple weeks into that. I'm like, I'm never GCing this thing again.
There's so many little things that go into it. A lot of stuff, what you deal with too on new construction is the codes. And so it's sort of kind of knowledge-based thing. You know? Like, there's a lot of stuff that, but I thrive off it. I love that stuff, you know. And the codes are constantly changing. And you know, like, one of the guys I hired is licensed in Massachusetts, and that's a whole nother ball game down there, which is a market that I honestly haven't even started to break into, but, you know, something that I need to, because there's a lot of money, and it's not an easy license to get. So because, you know, my Ken has that license, you know, it opens us up to be able to do that work. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. It's like, I find it hard to get caught. I get caught in the weeds, and I'm not good at delegating, and so, but I do some things good, so you can't be perfect. Right?
I mean, that's everything. It's just like, you learn from it, you grow, you adapt, you change. Because I'm like, at the end of the day, you learn from certain, I wouldn't even call them mistakes. I would call them like learning lessons. You learn from them, you don't do it again. Like I said, there's certain things that I would never do. I would never do again. I know, but I think really in real estate is like, one, you gotta like do your research, but like, you gotta have some do some stuff too, like, you know. And I think a lot of people, like, I even work with some people, they're like stuck in the analytical stage. I'm just like, nothing wrong with being analytical, and being analytical is great. But taking that to have some brass behind it is where you'll see some of these things go and take off. And I know some people who are very slim on the analytical side, but like, they believe in themselves. They have. You know, they'll put it all out there, and they are doing working wonders, doing really amazing projects.
I've made so many mistakes. I remember way back, like I was like, it was funny too, because like when you first start in real estate, like it's like, oh, you got to raise the money, right? So I like going out, like trying to like raise all this money from people, and like I got a 6-unit in Manchester under contract. I went into the inspection, and like I literally could not get one person any money, and I just had to back out of it, and it was wicked embarrassing, you know. But it's crazy, like once you actually start doing the deals, like all of a sudden, it's not really even hard to find money. It's just hard to find the deals.
Yeah.
You know,
finding the deal.
Yeah. Well, we just, a lot of mistakes. Like I have a 3-family Manchester. We were going to sell it, do a 1031 exchange. And we had a project and we put down a deposit and we ended up losing our deposit because the bank flipped around what they were going to offer us. And we were beyond the contract date and, you know, we lost some money, but you know, we had to walk away, you know, so there's constant, like you said, constant mistakes, constant learning. Try not to make the same mistake twice. Like that's the big thing for me. Yeah. So, but it's fun. I was meant to be in. You know what I mean?
100%. Like, same. I didn't mean to cut you off, but like, well, I've talked about it in some of my previous podcasts. Was like me trying to find myself after football. Literally, probably the hardest thing I ever went through.
I was thinking about that last night.
Years.
Yeah, it must have been an interesting transition. And scary transition, I'm sure.
Yeah, it sucks. Like, and then I was hurt. And it's just like, it just ends. Life goes on. Got 3 kids. No one cares. Yeah. And which is fine. But I'm like,
you were in a sales job, right?
Yeah. So I got into coaching because I love coaching. Kind of have had that even when I was playing. I kind of was like a little player coach just because I always wanted to know where I was supposed to be, all that other stuff. But I'm just like, really looking at that coaching lifestyle, I'm like, it's different. I connecting with the players I love, but I'm just like, I didn't like that I was away from my family that much. Like I just had my 3rd kid, and so I got out of that, loved it, but got out of it because it just, from that standpoint, didn't make sense.
Yeah, time consuming,
Then I've always had this love for real estate, but like it's hard starting in real estate. Like our first year in real estate, like me and my wife, the 5 of us, we made $50,000. Like you can't 5 people, 50 grand, like, and so that's why I was like, whoa,
doesn't go very far.
Yeah, I was like, obviously we were in a position to where we're okay. Yeah, but I was just like, is this the best thing we should be doing for our family? So I jumped into sales.
Questioning it, yeah.
I jumped into sales for a couple of years because I was like, at the end of the day, I'll do whatever it takes to support my family. Yeah. Like, I'll spin a damn sign. I'll go, like, it doesn't matter to me. Yeah. Like, I'll do whatever to support my family. Yeah. And so I jumped into the sales, and it was cool. Yeah. Then, credit to my wife, she did a great job. We always would work together, but like it was really her baby for those couple of years I was doing sales. And what she did, she grew with the social media, and everyone really got to know her and all this other stuff. Then we had a conversation after I did about 2 years of normal sales.
Which is, I think, when I met you, and I think I remember you saying you didn't want to leave that job, which I think that was a fairly well-paid job.
Yeah, it was well-paid. It was easy. Yeah. It was very easy.
But you didn't like it, obviously.
Yeah, zero passion for it, but it paid okay, and it was easy. And so I was like, this is a safe. It was a safe move.
Which is exactly what my career was like.
For my family. It was a safe move. I know it's dependable. The check's coming in on time. Not worried about that. Then after 2 years of doing that, I'm just like I said, it's safe. It's dependable, but like coming back to my core, like, am I passionate about it? Yeah. And like I wasn't. And like I always had the passion for real estate, but I was of us to do it. Yeah. Because it's like, at least when I was in the sales, it's like I had, the 401k and the health benefits and things like that. Which is
all employee retention stuff anyway. Yeah. They give you that so you don't leave.
Yeah, exactly. But I had a conversation with my wife, and I was just like, hey, if we're able to do this much in real estate, like I'll quit. And the number that we chose, my wife kicked. So that was like our number for the whole year. She did it by August.
Oh wow!
And I'm like, I'm out. Yeah, I'm out. Left like 2 months later. Jumped in, and like we've been both been rocking together for last like what 3.5 or whatever.
You guys have another person on your team.
Yeah, and it's been like. But like I needed, and people say, do you regret it or do you wish you whatever? And it's like, honestly, like I'd probably done it the same way because I felt like I needed to go through those steps to get to where I am. Yeah. And it's just like, and I feel like it's how life is. Like certain things you have to go first before you're ready to take the next step. Sure, if I just stuck it out and, for right away and never got into the other stuff, sure. But I'm like, I might have not loved real estate the same way that I do now. Yeah. If I
and you probably, I'm sure you didn't have the freedom. Like you have to be on that job during the day or whatever. And so I feel the same way. My wife was very supportive too, of doing that. And it is scary, you know. But like I just like I look back on like flips and projects that I'm done, and it's like, you're running out of money, and it's like, how are we gonna buy this? And it's like, I just feel like that's part of like being an entrepreneur is like, you just figure it out. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's like by the skin of your teeth, and you pull it out of freaking thin air. But we're resilient, you know, and we figure it out. I stress about stuff, and then I figure it out.
As long as you don't quit, because they always say like your biggest opportunities on the other side of the pain. Yeah. And it's just like, if you quit the pain, you'll never see it. And sometimes it's like you gotta lean into it. Yes, I know this sucks. Yes, these hours are crazy, but I know if I keep forging my way through it, the opportunity that's at the other side.
You're sacrificing, vacations, and being away from your family, and
I was like, name one business that's whatever where people didn't sacrifice like.
Oh yeah.
A lot.
Everybody did.
And it's just like, you gotta think about it, same way. And like I remember when I saw you the other day, and we were just talking about our trucks, and you had 70,000 miles on it, in 2 years?
Yeah.
Like, that's a sacrifice, man.
Yeah. It's a lot of driving.
Yeah, a lot of driving. I mean, that car is not going to be worth what it was when you got to give it back.
No, it's not. But I don't regret it, Yeah. That's what my electrician was telling me. He's like, you just need to buy a Tesla, and then you can just have it drive you around, and you can work while you're driving.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I need to hire a driver. That's what I do need to do.
Well, then you got to pay that guy.
I know.
I'm no driver, but like, could you hammer some stuff?
Yeah.
When you're not actually driving, I need to do some other work too.
Yeah. It's I worry a lot. That's what Mom is a warrior, and I got that from her. Yep. And it's hard for me not to stress and worry about stuff.
It just means you care.
Yeah, I care. Yeah,
it just means you care.
Yeah.
And like I said, we said at the beginning that you care.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you attract your people, in your network.
Business to me is a people. It's a person to person. They talk about robots taking over our jobs and everything like. They're not ever taking over a real estate agent's job. Like that's never ever gonna happen. Maybe it'll take a few sales here and there, but like it's a people business. I mean, construction's a people business. Like there's always gonna be opportunities, no matter what. And that's I thrive. Like I always say, like my highest dollar like return on my time, unfortunately, which is not what I love, is sitting at my computer, being on the phone. Like I actually really like, communicating with people and talking with my customers, and I think I adapt, but like, that's, I need to be at my computer getting stuff done. Like that's my high dollar return, time of working. And I struggle a lot with, concentrating and getting stuff done. But looking back on when I was working in my 9-to-5 job, I would just go into that office and I would just sit at my computer, and I'm just like, I can't do this, and I couldn't concentrate because I didn't enjoy it. And it felt meaningless. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's always an interesting journey. I wish I had gone this for business. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's why I personally don't feel that I'll push my kids into college. Like if you wanted like tech school or whatever, like, there's business, that's the thing, is like all the people that are super wealthy are all business owners. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, you'll be surprised how many of them don't have like a business degree.
Oh, yeah,
don't have a degree, period.
True.
I would say the most common denominator amongst them are people who are like ruthless.
Yeah.
Won't quit.
Yeah.
Won't take no for an answer. And they learn from their lessons. Yeah, I would say those, if you actually track some of these people back, I even know like some people who are like, they're so far into their career and people didn't realize they didn't have a degree. So they just like, if that's what I need to get it, whatever, they go pop, okay, I have my degree now, and they progress. And it's just like, people have no idea. So I think if you have the right intangibles, I would say business is always, experience is always the best business degree you could get.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Oh,
like,
definitely. Well, that's what I like that first flip I ever did where, you know, I think we made $7,000. So we each made $3,500. So I didn't even pay myself $10 an hour, but I got paid for a degree. Basically, I could have gone and paid for courses.
Somebody show you in a
whatever.
perfect scenario what a flip looks like, or you just go ahead, do one. And like I said, that's perspective. It's like some people go lose the 5 to 10 grand and be like, I'm never ever doing this again. And like, you know, the one I did, we didn't do great either. But I'm just like, it was a learning lesson.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was like because
now you know when you look at the next one, you know how to run the numbers and
everything. Like like the whole process of it, how we even evaluate things and like the true costs of construction. Then be able to have money for when stuff doesn't go great. It's almost a guarantee. Because I think I remember to you, like you used to save like what 10%.
We bumped it to 25%.
Yeah, bumped 25
over what we think it's gonna cost.
Because there's just stuff that just happens.
Always so many little things.
You open up a wall and you're like, ooh, this is crazy. What was like? What was the last person doing? Who touched this house?
Well, there's just like a lot of things too. Like sometimes you don't think about like, all right, I gotta go pick up all the lights for the house. You go spend $1,000 on lights.
Oh yeah.
Quick. I just bought a light for over in that house. $200 for one light. You know, you go buy 3-4, so that adds up quick. To me, the hardest thing a lot of this is, you know, when you're looking at a flip or like a project, it's like I can't get every one of my subcontractors in to look at every single job. So that's a big part of me as a GC or whatever is like I gotta guess at a lot of this stuff, and I feel like it's such. You want to make a deal, right? You want to buy this house, you want to flip it, and you undershoot rather. I've been trying to train myself into like, I think it might cost $6,000 for drywall. Let's put 10 in the budget and maybe it comes in at 8 and we're under versus putting 6 in the budget and all of a sudden it comes in as $8,500.
I was like, I'd rather go this direction than go that way.
But it's hard when you're like looking at the numbers and it's tight and you want to make something out of it if it's not there.
Especially like one of the investors like me, I'm like, I know you just told me this price. But could we make it?
Well, and that's too is like, you know, you're a lot of times in this construction business, you're only as good as your subcontractors, you know, and I think a lot of my, you know, the subcontractors I use may not be the cheapest, but sometimes you got to find other people and you're constantly changing and so, and you know, like with me, I work all over New Hampshire, Massachusetts. So, you know, some people don't want to travel. So you have certain people that are your subcontractors in this area or some people in that area, but it's funny because like I'm doing that 15 unit with Brittany, like her and I are running the construction. She runs a huge general contracting business. So like, you know, we actually went through and we had each one of our subcontractors that we usually use bid out every aspect of the job. And it was really funny because it was like, well, you're lower here, I'm lower here. And we actually were able to save a lot of money because of, you know, but I like, she's taken some of my subcontractors, I've taken some of hers. So, you know, it all goes around. I think what a lot of people don't realize with a general contractor is that, like, you know, if I call my plumber or my electrician, like they're there within a couple days, you know what I mean? And they might even be giving me prices that even with me marking up their price is the same as that they would charge the homeowner directly. So you're getting charged the same theoretically, but you're not having to coordinate everything. So, and I can get those guys there in 2 or 3 days notice. And that's just because I use them constantly. You know,
it's like you're gonna know them better than anyone else, and you understand where they are and what their price is, and all of that stuff. So that's awesome, man. I think we accomplished a lot. I told you it's like my guide, but dude, we're one thing I always like to see if we give people advice. So someone trying to get into the real estate, obviously there's a lot of different directions. What would be the biggest piece of advice that you would give someone trying to get into real estate?
I learned a lot. I wish I still listened to that podcast, but I haven't in a long time. Like that bigger podcasts, you know, I'm assuming they're still active. I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't.
Just go back and watch some old episodes.
True.
Going nowhere.
Yeah, true. I just did a lot into like learning and then just getting kind of connected with people in the space, you know. I feel like a lot of things in business, people are afraid of like the competition. You know, you're afraid of competing against other people in the space, but I think personally real estate and construction as well. I have a lot of friends that are contractors. And it's funny, like one of my best friends, like him and I, without knowing, just competed on a job together. Yeah. I got the job because he was higher and I didn't do very well. So his price was probably right anyway. But a lot of collaboration, you know, like, you know, I have partnered on a lot of stuff that I've done, and I think people are afraid to do that because they want to make all the money. They want to make 100% of the profit. But to me, I see it differently. So maybe we're 50-50 partners, and I'm only getting from the upside, but I'm also protected because I only have 50% of the downside. If something goes sideways, exactly, I'm only half in this thing, you know. So that's what I think. You know, it's there's a lot of like. Not that I personally attended a lot of like RIA meetings and stuff, but there's a lot of, I feel like people out there too that are willing to like share, you know what I mean? Like they like the new people coming in and, you know, provide value, you know what I mean? Like hustle, like, you know, do this, do that. Like if you can learn about the space, get involved with the people that are doing it, and try to provide, don't just ask people for stuff, you know, like, and provide value back, you know, in any way you can. Like it can be very simple things. I think that if I was going to go all over again, that's what I would focus on. Because like I was saying, like trying to raise money right at the beginning, like it's hard. Like I had somebody that approached me and they're like, hey, I see what you're doing. Like I got money. You want to borrow the money? Like it's hard to, you can't sell your experience without having the experience. So you have to find a way to get into it to gain that experience, because once you get the experience, it does open up to a lot more things, you know? But, you know, like I got my first couple flips driving down the street, seeing beat up looking houses, taking a yellow piece of paper and a red pen because it makes it look like you were just like haphazardly like pulled what you could find out of your truck. And I would sit down in the morning and I would write 10 letters to people. And I got 3 or 4 houses that way, you know? It's not like a volume type thing. It didn't cost me a lot of money though. And I got deals out of it and I learned, you know? So there's a lot of stuff that you can do. And that was all while I was working a full-time job. You know, I'll never forget, I was doing a flip and we were trying to finish it. I was working my regular full-time job and we had stuff that we had to finish. And I would get up and I would at 4 a.m. and drive down to that house, and I would work for 2 or 3 hours doing little stuff here and there, punch list stuff, go home, take a shower, and go to work. And it sucked. But we got it done, and we got through it. So sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, you know? Sometimes it sucks, and sometimes you got to work long hours, and it's never going to be easy. But I'm happy where I'm at now, you know?
No, man, it's like I said, I've... you know, when we met a few years ago, like I think we were outside that flip room. Like we sat down and talked for like 45 minutes. I didn't know what happened. I was like, I like this guy. Like, you know, whatever. And it's kind of cool that, you know, to kind of see where you've been and like me, like I'm no longer selling pharmaceuticals. And, but it's like, you know, it's to your point. You don't need to go to a lot of these real estate investor meetups, but you meet the right person. They'll show you, they'll tell you everything that you really need to know. Like I think I went to a couple and that Johnny put together, and like the only reason I know Johnny is because my wife went to high school with him, so I got introduced to him. Went to a meetup. I met Rich Racine. Obviously I got to know Johnny a little bit better.
It's funny how like we all know the same people.
Because like you said, it's a small space.
Community.
Then I went to another one of Johnny's. I think the only one we went to because we always got kid conflicts.
I've only been to one of those too.
So I met Patrick Willie Bongo, which I met him before, but like I actually got to sit down and chat with him. He's actually coming on. You know, a little bit later today, and you know, through him, then we like ran into each other again, and I literally called him out of the blue. I'm like Pat. One time I was like, I just know that we're supposed to be friends, and I'm gonna make you come sit down and hang out with me. And he's like, oh, you know his personality. And you know, between you guys, you know, a few other people I know, I've gained like from all your guys' past experiences. And like I said, you're always like, it's just a text away or a call away. I'm like, you know, and it's just like, it's really cool from, you know, just being able to, you know, to meet everyone, and like the amount that I've just learned from not even a whole lot of people. Like it's just,
so like for Johnny, for example, like him and I don't even No, like it was like a random like Facebook message. Like I just saw him, I knew he was in the space, and then like all of a sudden we're doing deals together, and it works out, awesome. Like Britt and I are running that job together, and then Johnny's gonna take it over and rent it all. He found it, and so there, I think there's a lot of
collaboration.
That's what I think is unique from some other businesses, which really not, you know what I mean? Like I'll never forget, when I was working in engineering, we worked for Market Basket was our customers. There was a market here and there was another grocery store here. Market Basket purposely built another store on the other side of where that other grocery store and choked them out. Now, I don't think Market Basket is collaborating with Shaw's, you know what I mean? Like they're cutthroat, like they're out to kill each other, but that's not how. Yeah, sure. Like you're competing with deals sometimes in real estate. Like it's happened, like where you're on but it doesn't happen a lot. And there's plenty of.
And there's so many deals out there. And
exactly.
I'll tell people all the time, and because a lot of my friends are realtors, but I'm like, honestly, it's few and very far between that we're even competing against I would say less than a handful of times. Yeah. Like maybe 2 or 3 times. Yeah. Because I know so many different people. You know so many different people. Then it was actually made me think of one of my friends is like, oh, like are you guys friends? Like yeah, we're friends. Like I was like, I think there might have been one listing appointment in the last 7 years that we both attended to, and I was just like, and we both didn't get it because so I was funny. I think people think it's, but I'm just like, but we've collaborated on a lot of things with with other agents, and I'll let people know things are coming up, and they'll let me know. I'm like, I got somebody for you, and I've done way more business that way. My network, even just realtors and people in this space, that's helped my clients, has helped theirs, and because of that collaboration. Yeah. I mean, people are just if you're guarded off on your own, cool. Yeah. You're gonna be guarded off on your own, and you're only gonna get so far.
Well, I think that's a scarcity mindset. We've all gotten that scarcity mindset, but it's hard to knock theirs because we're at the end of the day, we got to go out there and do deals and make money.
Support your family.
Exactly. But I think that all also comes back to doing business with people that you want to do business versus doing business just to do business. And there's different industries where obviously it doesn't matter. If you're just in a store, it doesn't matter who you're selling to necessarily. But in our business, you're talking with those people. You're in their houses. There's a lot of money being exchanged, and so you got to work with the people you're comfortable working with. And 100%. I've taken on jobs that I had no business taking on.
When people call, I always say hey, well, I could do a quick little thing. I was like, all right, let's schedule a second. And I was like, we'll see if we're a great match. I always tell them that. Yeah. Because I'm like, you might hate my guts or whatever. And I'm just like, well, this guy's but I'm just like, let's see if we're a good match. Yeah. Let's hop on a call. Let's go through the process of what it's going to look like to do whatever we're about to do and see if we're a great match. And if you feel comfortable moving forward, we'll do so. And if not,
well, I love that because that's exactly the sales approach I have. You know what I mean? It's not all right, well, I'm coming over to your house right now with a listing agreement. And if you don't sign this, you'll never sell your house. You know what I mean? There's people that are very, and do very good in sales that way. I just had somebody was just telling me that
they probably sleep like a baby too.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I just had somebody telling me that they had I won't name the company, but it was a window company, and they came to their family member's house, and they're like, this is the price, but if you sign today, we're gonna knock off $7,500. And even that price with $7,500 knocked off was way too expensive. Yeah. But they get people that way. You know what I mean? But that's just, I don't sleep well at night. I wouldn't sleep well at night doing that.
Well, I mean, I always say, when we was talking about what value are you adding? It's if your only value is price, then people are only gonna look for price. Yeah. But if the value that you add in that, then people if you're a little bit more expensive, but people understand your value, people will pay for it. Yeah. You explain 100%. It to them. You let them know. Yeah. I'm a quality, whatever I do. Yeah. People will pay for it.
And I think that
it's cheap. It's not always better.
That's true. But so there's two sides of that though, because I do think that there is a time where you you can't just go and start in your business and say that you're the best and you're more expensive. You know what I mean? No. So that's the thing is now you
gotta get there.
I'm in this shifting phase now where I am providing not necessarily the lowest price, but
Yeah, no, you got to get there.
So I just wanted, like, for people starting out, sometimes you got to be the low man and not make a lot of money and still give a quality.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Do it for free.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I have done a lot of stuff for free.
Yeah.
You know? But it's all paying it forward. You know? It's worked out for me very well. You know, because like I love talking about real estate. Like, I could talk about it for hours. You know, my wife is always like, like when I'm on the phone in my house, I can't sit still. So I walk in circles around my house. But like I'll spend hours talking about nothing with people.
Yeah.
Because I just really like it. I'm passionate about it. Like it makes me tick, what they would say.
And I always say it's like at the end of the day, you do something you're passionate about, everything else kind of just falls into place. And that's kind of why I would get back in real estate. Like I had a passion for it. And you know, obviously we're busy. We're busy and all that. You know, there's stress that comes. But I was just like telling my wife the other day, no matter what job you do, it's stressful.
That's true.
And if your job isn't stressful, then it's probably boring as hell, and you're probably not making that much money.
Yeah.
But you know, it's kind of just it's all part of it. You know, you could make adjustments. Like comfortable delegating, then you know you could take some of the maybe more time you have to be somewhere. Like now it's more maybe mental stress, but like now you could do more and things like that. So there's always
it's interesting too, because like Johnny too, like all of us, like not all of us, but like so many of us have, you know, worked a 9-to-5 job and then done the stuff that we're passionate about on the side. And then, you know, because and doing both at the same time is a lot, but sometimes you got to do that because you got to pay your bills, right? And like you can't just like. But some people do, I guess, just jump right into it, and they're great at it. They make money right away. But the other thing about real estate, too, is, like, you know, you start a project, you're not seeing money. Our listing, it's 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. It's not immediate money in your pocket. Construction job, same thing, you know. So it's, you know, I was scared. I was very scared to leave that safe job. And I would say, like, you know, they always get you like the 401k and like, you know, after, you know, 5 years, like we're going to do a match and it's after 5 years, like you lose a percentage of the match. That's nothing other than them trying to keep you there. Yeah. They want you in this place where you feel comfortable and because you're making them money, right? Yep. Like they lose you, like they got to find somebody else, you know? So it's easy to feel comfortable. You know? Like I picked engineering because my grandmother sent me an article saying that in the paper saying that we needed engineers, and I was like, I'll do that, and I went after it, and you know, it ended up being somehow luckily sort of related to like what I do, because it is related to like real estate and construction, but you know, and I don't regret working that job. Like I learned a lot of stuff I use in my day-to-day, you know, like that development. Like we did a lot of the permitting ourselves because I do that. And I save some money. You know, so, and that's where I feel like I've always thought that is where I could provide value, because I can look at property, I can look at projects, and I say, this is what you could build, like very quickly and very easily, because that's what I used to do. So that's a space that's what I want to know. That's really what my passion, like housing developments and doing multifamily projects. That's where I want to go. And it's not easy. Yeah. It's not easy, and there's a lot of risk and money but we're doing that 15 right now, and we're getting through that, and so I hope that
when's that supposed to wrap up?
We'll probably be done by the end of June. Yeah.
And people in there.
Yeah, well, we already put them up for rent, and we already have people applying.
When the like June move-in date, or like July?
Like July probably. Yeah, maybe, I forget what we were saying, maybe like beginning to middle of July. But there's always things that come up, like that spec build in Bedford. Source, you know, the power's on the other side of my neighbor's driveway. It's $12,000 because I have to bore a hole under their driveway to get the power. You got no choice. You know, we didn't have that $12,000 in our budget. Yeah. Our Boscoin project to connect to the water, $50,000. Yeah. We didn't have that in our budget, you know, so there's always things that are going to come up like that. Yeah. You know, and you talk about learning, like I've been, you know, when I do new construction now, like I've learned to put in that if there's connection fees from the utility company, it's not on me. Yeah. You know, if you don't put that in there and it comes up, I've had to eat that stuff before many times. Yeah. So a lot of learning. Yeah. You know? Like I have I'll share it with you if you want, but like I have like a super detailed sheet now for doing flips that's like very granular. But I've been like adding to it, like to a point where it's like, how many toilets are you buying, and how many bathrooms, like just like how many doorknobs are you buying? Because it doesn't sound like a lot, but you know, you have 20 doors in the house and they're $40 a doorknob, and you got to pay somebody to install them. You could be spending $12 different dollars on doorknobs, which sounds stupid, but it's the actual cost of what. So now you have doorknobs and lights. That's $2,500 you might not have accounted for.
You know, and to that point, and like, you know, being very detailed, and like, and I was looking at the budget, like a different flip, and I was like, there's nothing.
Looking back, I've done that so many times.
There's nothing that like, but it's good to look back.
Yeah,
like, I mean, that's. But there's nothing that like really that was like, but it was just like, this was 5% more here, this 5% more than I thought it would be. This then when you add all those up,
tens of thousands of dollars, right?
That's $40,000.
Yeah,
like damn, because it's like we're only off by 300 by whatever. Yeah, but you got 100 items or whatever.
That's why we run our numbers, then we add 25%. And you feel like you spend it every single time. But I mean, I've been doing this a long time. I've done a lot of flips, and like that house in Amherst, like I go back and look at my spreadsheet and I'm like, how did I not have this? But also sometimes like you get into the project and you say, hey, this is the right thing to do. And then you do it and you spend the money, and it was never in your original plan. Yeah, you know? Of course. So
there's always adjustments.
It is tough balance too. Doing a flip for Jeremy, New Hampshire home buyers right now in Hollis, and you know, they did a good job, because like looking at it, like that's going to be a higher end clientele base. Yep. So we ended up spending more money on some items to go. So you have to, you know, it's dependent on the market, you know, it can be. So it's an ever changing business, and everything's, there's a company out of Goffstown, New Hampshire. They flip 60 houses a year. And you know, but even they've had, you know, it's the thing is like a lot of these guys try to make $100,000 off a flip, and it's just not easy to do nowadays. You know, like so I think that company they're doing $30,000 a pop, you know, and but like we've gotten down to like, which I'm sure they do. It's like, you know, we use the same paint color, you know, we use the same flooring, we use the same cabinets. You know, it's like, because it's a lot of work to go pick out the finishes for every single house. And then you were talking about like with finishes. Like the first flip I did, we did it very masculine, because I just didn't know any better. Black countertops, like all this stuff. And so when you're doing those projects, like a lot of times you have, like people are like, oh, the gray is so plain. It's like, well, you have to do it because you kind of have to like just try to go to the masses. What appeases most people. Yeah. And then a lot of times it's that like plain, it's almost like slate, and they do. You know, we use the same boring countertops and but it works.
And then when you could put the character in certain spots to where it's not overwhelming, or unless you pick somebody up who you got a buyer locked up for.
True. And I've always like struggled with staging or not staging, because staging is expensive. You know, so, but you know, I think that like you look at, like, I think you guys staged your house, right? And it looks really good.
And like for us, it's worth it.
It is. I think it is. I think it. But what I mean, it's like $3,500 house, right? Like it's not cheap. Like you got to carry that in your budget. So you were over budget, and then you got to spend money on staging. It's like, should I do it? So like a lot of those companies will buy.
I'm just hoping that this $3,500 I'm putting in
is going to make a difference.
It's going to push whatever the person's offered.
But like those companies that flip all those houses, they own their own staging stuff.
Yeah, sure.
They have a storage unit, you know, so
they probably own like
huge
5
dollars.
businesses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but you can't do that if you're just like a one-off here and there. So.
I don't know what time it is, but I think we got to wrap it.
We could have kept going for another hour.
No, dude, talking real estate, but at the end of the day, we're talking about what we're passionate about. So that's why it was easy.
Yeah.
So as I know we talked about, we got to get that thing going. Yeah, so where can they find you?
McCarthy Construction, New Hampshire. McCarthy Construction was taken, but yeah, I'm mostly active on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as well. So, but yeah, we try to post a lot of stuff like ongoing projects and different phases. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
All right. Hey, man, thanks for coming.
Yeah, appreciate it for having me. It was fun.
We'll do it again soon.
All right, sounds good.